Welcome to Hayward. Today we're live all over this city as we highlight some of its top attractions and hidden gems.
My opinion of Hayward is like it's the place to be.
You know, they say Hayward is the heart of the East Bay.
From mom and pop shops that are now institutions to the big development putting this community on the map.
What we're doing for Hayward is going to last for 100 years.
And from a haunted mansion to the country's oldest brew pub, we're taking you to some of Hayward's hotspots.
So if you're interested in Hayward, now's the time to jump in.
Good morning to you from Hayward. We are so excited to bring you the 9 from this gorgeous East Bay city. So many people here, Mike. The excitement is in the air, as is the sunshine.
I think of Hayward, I think of it being a hidden gem. You know, forget Oakland, forget San Jose. Right there in the middle is 164,000 people, a great community. A number of them here gathered behind us right now. I also think of the Great Quake of 1868. You know, we're coming up on 150 years from that devastated the town of Hayward back then. A lot of concerns about that fault going off
Which
again.
Is pretty much right in front of our
where
feet.
we're sitting here. So we may feel some shaking, maybe we
hope
won't.
not.
I also think about John Miller, kind of a national treasure, the voice of the San Francisco Giants, grew up in Hayward, tells stories about being up on his rooftop at night, looking across the bay when it was clear, no fog was in, and seeing the lights from Candlestick Park and kind of getting his feet wet in the broadcast industry, kind of calling games from the city of Hayward from his rooftop. So very exciting. I know we've got a coverage all over the city. Sal Castaneda is here, right? He is joining us. He got the lovely assignment of going over to Buffalo Bills.
How do you get that?
We're going to check in with him a little bit. Claudine Wong is here. Frank Malicote is here. Everyone went out over the last couple of weeks to get flavor, to find out more and talk to the people about the city of Hayward. So we're going to check in with them. Also, we're going to go back to our studios in Oakland. Pam Cook is there giving us the headlines of the day, not only in the Bay Area, but of course, across the country.
One of the things I'm most excited to share with you is the pride of Hayward High. The marching band is right behind us. Let's see if we can get a little taste of what the pride of Hayward High brings to Hayward. Mike, I've been threatening to quit and run away with the band. I think today may be the day.
55 minutes.
In about 55 minutes, I will.
Out there.
I have 2 little boys who are in public school here in the East Bay, and they play the trumpet in the school band, and nothing is sweeter than the sound of children getting interested in the arts and music, all thanks to the public school. So we'll talk more with the director of the Hayward High Marching Band, Nick Toko, in just a few minutes.
You know what? I appreciate them being here. They're still on summer vacation.
I know.
School here for the school district doesn't start till August 27th, so thank you for being here. An important thing they do on actually the 27th is what they call the Million Father March across the country. So they encourage father figures to walk their children to school on that first day of class, which is an important thing. Speaking of school, Hayward's doing something pretty cool. They're doing a school supply drive, and that starts actually today. And they're putting barrels out at a number of different locations right now. And what can you drop off? A number of items. I mean, you can drop off pencils, crayons, you can drop off backpacks, spiral notebooks, glue. Everyone needs glue, right, in school, especially those grade school. Hand sanitizer, multicolored construction paper. So a number of things to drop off. 21,000 students in this district, so everyone needs school supplies. Where can you drop it off? We're right here outside Hayward City Hall, so I know that's one location. A couple of the library branches, the main library branch, as well as Weeks Branch Library on South Hayward. Also, the police department. That's an easy spot to do at 3 of their sites. And then the Southern District Office and the school district offices as well.
I was lucky enough to meet a little 5-year-old kindergartner who lives here in Hayward, and his mom brought him down. They're both big fans of Mornings on 2, which is nice.
I saw that. They're
Even
great.
better than that, though, little guy brought a backpack and school supplies to donate to the school supply drive. So if little kindergartner can do it, you can do it too. A lot of people think of Hayward for what it is now. You know, shops and restaurants and gorgeous homes and great community, but a lot of people don't realize that it is not just the 6th biggest city in the Bay Area. It's also the 3rd largest here in Alameda County. If I take you back some 3,000 plus years, this was home to the Ohlone and Ergin Native Americans.
Yeah, 1843. Just a little story here. There's a guy named Guillermo Castro who was kind of cruising through the area. I would say he's the first fan of Hayward because he noticed the location close to the bay, all the way up to the hills, and he wound up getting about 27,000 acres from the Mexican government. Fast forward to 8 years later, there's a guy coming down from Gold Country, and he said, you know what, this is pretty nice land too. And he tapped Castro on the shoulder and said, hey, give me some of your acreage here. And he set up his last name, Hayward. KTVU's Frank Malicote joins us live this morning with more on the rest of that story. Hey, Frank.
All right, Mike Garcia, good morning to you. I'm just a block away. I'm at the foot of C Street here on the site of the old library. Take a look behind me, though. In all its glory, that is the $65 million wonder, the brand new library under construction right now. It's all part of Hayward's downtown renaissance, a city that has come a long way in its 143 years. Welcome to Hayward, population 160,000. Once a thriving community, it has grown after World War II into the 6th largest city in the East Bay. But it wasn't always Hayward. William Hayward, its founding father, owned Hayward's Hotel in the 1850s on. That apostrophe S stuck around for a good 16 years.
So when the town was incorporated in 1876, it is incorporated as the town of Haywards with the S. The S lasts until 1893, when the town formally changes its name to the town of Hayward.
Hayward is all grown up now, boasting over 400 bioscience businesses and 100 food companies like Shasta Beverage and the Annabelle Candy Company. If the name Annabelle doesn't ring a bell, that's okay, because I guarantee you, the candy bars certainly will. How about a big hunt? Remember those? But that's not all. The Rocky Road, Abba Zaba, You Know, and Look bars are all made proudly in Hayward.
Our loyal fans keep us going. They're really important to us. They've kept us here for over 65 years. We're well known, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good Abba Zaba?
Exactly.
Hayward is also home to 4 colleges, including Cal State East Bay and Chabot Junior College. You may know one of their alums.
There's no crying in baseball!
Yes, the great Tom Hanks studied his craft in Hayward, a city that's enjoying a downtown renaissance. B Street has come alive in the last decade. Hayward Hardware, 70-plus years of business, is riding that wave. Its upstairs attic was once a boxing gym where heavyweight champ George Foreman trained. And now it caters to the locals in a family-like atmosphere.
Have a great day, guys.
I would assume you know most of your customers.
We do. We know most of our customers by name. It's kind of like the Cheers bar. You know everyone by their first name. We got a lot of that. You got a lot of Hey Jims. How's it going? And it's been a fantastic ride.
From down home to the next generation, all eyes are on Hayward's $65 million library. Located at the corner of C and Mission Boulevard, this net energy building will push Hayward into the next century, while the old library across the street will become part of Heritage Plaza, a park and amphitheater that will serve as a magnet for business and commerce.
What we're doing for Hayward is going to last for 100 years. And that's pretty much what we're all excited about, is that we're offering a learning center that can be used by our community for a multitude of different ways over the next numerous generations.
40,000 commute into Hayward each day, while 40,000 commute out. The median price for a home, just over $700,000, which compared to most towns is a bargain.
The average Hayward single-family dwelling is about $100,000 less than our neighboring communities. And so if you're interested in Hayward, now's the time to jump in.
Yes, there's a lot to like about Hayward. You're taking a look now at the old library. That'll shut its doors September the 1st and eventually become Heritage Plaza. The new library set to open up on October the 27th, and folks here in Hayward can't wait. Mike Garcia, back to you.
Hey, you said, Frank, you're only a block away. Do me a favor. Sometime in the next hour, can you swing by here and say hello?
Oh, you can count on it. I'll be there.
Good. We'll see you in a little bit.
Very good. We've got a group of people here from the Hayward Public Library.
Yeah.
Woo! Library in the house. I cannot say enough about the public library.
Support your public library.
I absolutely love it. Check out your books, read your books, and to bring them back and pick new ones. So very, very good. Hayward Library in force behind us. There's a lot that's new here in Hayward. Growing up in the East Bay, you grew up in the North Bay in the city. You know, we had ideas of what Hayward has become, but if I take you way, way back to one of the oldest spots in Hayward, it's known around the Bay Area and farther than that, we're talking about Buffalo Bill's Brewery.
That's right. I tried to get this assignment here, but somehow Sal just snaked it right from me.
Yes.
Sal, where are you exactly inside that brew pub?
On B Street, Mike and Garcia here at Buffalo Bill's Brewery. It's not open to the public yet, so I was the first one to sit on the stools. As I take you down here, here's where they pour all the beers. And down here at the end, the crew is getting ready. They're brewing beer today, so they're brewing some of the beer. There's head brewer Mike Manti. We're going to talk to him in just a little bit. He's hey, Mike, how are you? So I'm trying to get friendly with Mike because he's the guy who. How you doing today?
Very good. Good morning.
All right, we're going to talk to you in a little bit, so keep doing what you're doing. I don't want to distract you because you have
I'm going to brew mashing right now, going in the kettle, so I got a little work to do, but let me know and I'll set aside some time.
You know what? That's music to my ears. So Mike and Gassia, a little later on, I'm going to talk about what there is to do on the weekends here in Hayward. Now, one of them, I gave it away. We're here at Buffalo Bills. But some of the other spots are cool, too. So you could just, if you live in Hayward or if you live nearby, you could just find places to do things in town without having to leave. There's a bunch of cool things to do. So that's coming up in just a little bit. Mike and Gassia?
All right, love it. We'll see you soon, Sal. Thank you.
I'll mention the two other spots I love here in Hayward and I've been going to for years. First of all, if you have little ones, Kennedy Park. There's a little train that goes around, a little petting zoo, Kennedy Park, a little carousel. It's amazing. You can picnic, spend the whole day there. Second of all, there's a little place called Crossroads, and that's where we go to get our little Armenian delicacies, feta, olives, pita bread. So I'm going to probably hit up Crossroads after this. I think you might be going to Buffalo Bills to meet up
Maybe.
with
We'll see.
Okay,
We'll see.
We'll see.
It is noon somewhere, right?
Somewhere.
Is that what they say? Let's go back to Oakland right now in our studios at Jack London Square and check in with Pam Cook for a look at the headlines here on this Friday morning. Hey, Pam.
Yes, good morning. You're making me hungry right now. But in our top stories this morning, firefighters investigating an early morning business fire at a company in Pleasanton that makes wood fences. We've been on this all morning long. It started at 3:30 on Bush Road near Stanley Boulevard. When firefighters arrived, it was fully engulfed in flames. They could not go inside because they were afraid the building would collapse. There are no reported injuries. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Any moment now, the two defendants in the Ghost Ship warehouse fire will appear in court. They are back because 1 week ago, the judge rejected their plea deal, citing Derek Almena's lack of remorse. Now, the judge said he believed Max Harris was truly remorseful, but a plea bargain was a package deal, so both were rejected. Both men will now go to trial for the deaths of 36 people nearly 2 years ago. And in Solano County, a memorial procession is underway for fallen CHP officer Kirk Griss. The procession is escorting his body to the Father's House Church in Vacaville for a service that's set to begin at 11 o'clock. Officer Griss was killed last Friday after a truck slammed into him while he was conducting a traffic stop on the shoulder of Interstate 80 in Fairfield. The man he stopped was also killed in that crash. That's a look at some of our top stories we're following for you here in the KTVU newsroom. We're going to go back live to Mike and Gassia in Hayward right after the break. Stay with us.
welcome back to the 9 as you are listening to the Hayward High Marching Band playing a little Paint It Black for you as we are live in the city of Hayward. As we mentioned earlier, there is a school supply drive going on, and Hayward Fire just pulled up in truck 1 and dropped off
Unloaded.
a load of supplies for all the students right here in the city of Hayward. 21,000 students to be exact, 950 teachers, 32 schools. The motto here with the Unified School District is building a culture of success. Nice to see the Hayward Fire Department helping bring that success to the students.
That's right. All systems go for the first day of school, which is August 27th, coming up here very, very soon. So we're talking a lot about what's coming up here in Hayward. We're also reflecting and really luxuriating in some of the things that have been here for a very, very long time. A lot of people don't know that Hayward is home to California's oldest traditional Japanese gardens. And we're right here sort of in the hustle and bustle of gorgeous downtown Hayward. But the Japanese gardens are just about a mile plus outside of where we are now. We're so happy to say that our Claudine Wong is standing by live there to show us around, Claudine.
It is absolutely stunning, Gussie and Mike. We are at the Japanese Gardens at North 3rd Street. If you've never been here, you are missing out, because when I walked in here this morning, I just couldn't believe how gorgeous it is. We've got the waterfall, we've got a koi pond in front of us, and there are pathways where you can just stroll through and really just appreciate what is a hidden gem in the city of Hayward. I'm joined now by Nicole Rowe, who's a recreation supervisor for the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District. It is beautiful here, and it's been here for a long time.
Yes, it's about 38 years old. The gardens were originally the Hayward High School Botanical Gardens, and we took over the land in the 70s and built the gardens that you see today.
You know, when we took a walk around, and we've been sitting out here this morning, and it's so peaceful and gorgeous, do you think people, I mean, it's crowded on weekends. We've talked about it's crowded. For people outside of Hayward, maybe not realize what's here.
Yes, it's like like you said, the hidden gem here in Hayward, and it's got, you know, great, gives you a zen-like feeling and calming, and it's great. It's open daily from 8:30 to 4, and it's a little quieter on the weekdays versus the weekends.
Which is what I kind of like, you know. It kind of feels like our own little private park right now. When we take a look around, there's some really interesting things you've talked about in terms of how this place is cared for, and the man who designed it actually is still living.
He is. He used to come a couple times a month and or quarter and do some trainings on how to create the gardens, but he is still alive. And the neat thing about the gardens is they're all hand trimmed, so they're all pruned by hand. There's no power or gas tools used.
And if we can just pan around to show people how beautiful it is, what do you want people to understand about it when they come here and spend a little time here?
So the gardens themselves have roughly about 4,500 plants, and we have about 800 tons of rock here to create the feeling of water running through the gardens. So it's definitely well cared for and well maintained.
And I've got to just peek over and see if oh, look, the fish have come to say hi to us. They were getting fed earlier today, and they're just amazing. How many fish are in here?
There's 200 koi fish right now in here and 26 turtles.
26 turtles. They had a bunch of babies, I've been told.
They did, yes.
And the turtles are over there across the water. We can see it. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for letting us hang out here this morning. It is an absolutely stunning place. And if you haven't been here, guys, this is a place you are going to want to come. Absolutely free.
Absolutely free and open daily except December 25th.
I feel so disappointed that I haven't been here before, because it is such a pretty place, and we'll show you some different spots here when we check back in with you a little later on. But absolutely a picture perfect place.
Sounds fantastic. Looks fantastic. Claudine, thank you very much. You know that Hayward once had an S on the end of the city.
Haywards?
Haywards, back in like 1876 after a landmark hotel, and then a few years later, back to Hayward it went. Back to Hayward it went.
Hayward is perfect. I've heard hay weird too, but no, never. So our celebration of Hayward continues. Coming up, we are going to be sitting down and talking with the mayor of Hayward. Barbara Halliday is going to be joining us in minutes, and we're going to pick right back up where we left off. One of my favorite parts of Hayward, the pride of Hayward High. The marching band is right behind us. Stay with us as the 9 is keep it on rocking from right here in gorgeous Hayward. All these gorgeous backpacks and school supplies waiting to be given to the children who live and love in Hayward. School starts, by the way, for you Hayward students, August 27th. Lucky Ducks have one big juicy week of summer left. I see an Ace backpack in there. So many ways for you to help. Come on out, say hello to us here in Hayward, right in front of City Hall. If you have some school supplies you'd love to donate, we would love to take them, because there are many children here in Hayward who would appreciate a brand new binder, a freshly sharpened pencil. I go and I smell the paper.
I love the Ace backpack. They got a big series against the Astros coming up.
They are red hot.
So
we could probably auction that thing
the
off.
Astros, they're in first place just like that. You know, I grew up in Novato and then spent some time in San Francisco.
Right.
Hayward was like Chicago.
Right.
I mean, where's Hayward? Had no idea where it was. It wasn't really until I started working here 13, 14 years ago, when you're in the live truck, you're driving around town, where you just start discovering cities that even growing up here in the Bay Area, you never knew it even existed.
Right.
So it's good to be back.
Well, good.
I
grew up about 20 minutes from here in Livermore. We used to come to Hayward, like I said, for our Armenian delicacies at Crossroads, and we would come to Kennedy Park, and it's a great city because it had a similar feel to my hometown. And I'll be honest, everyone I've met here said either I grew up here or I chose to make this my hometown, and they are so thankful for the sense of community that is felt here in Hayward, and it's on display today. I'd like to bring in a longtime resident, and the mayor of Hayward this morning is joining us. Good morning to you, Mayor Barbara Halliday. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, and thank you for being here.
It is
with
our
us.
honor.
You're a wonderful host.
I mean, you have been here a long time. Tell me in your eyes how your city has changed.
Oh, well, I moved here more than 30 years ago, let's just put it that way. As an adult, I didn't grow up here, but I remember the first time that I came and looked at the downtown of my new city, that my husband and I had just bought a house out in the
Probably
in the
for $70,000, but go on.
Something like that, yeah. And the downtown was dead in 1986. It was there wasn't a place on a Saturday.
Right.
I worked in San Francisco, so I came on a Saturday to have a cup of coffee, or it was really disappointing. And how it is now is just, I hear from people all the time how excited they are to see what we've done here, and
it's changing, it's growing.
Place, exciting place.
And the community, when I walk around, Mayor, I see a diverse community. And I also hear and I read about a lot of new businesses coming to town. There's that balance, right, that you have to do. You want to attract businesses, but you want to stay true to the residents of Hayward, especially those who've been here a long time. How do you make that balance?
Oh, absolutely. It's not difficult to make that balance, because diversity is what makes us richer as a community. We pride ourselves on that. We're one of I've heard, third most diverse city in the nation, we value that, and it makes us a better city. And I like to say that we're a model for what the whole world is becoming, and we show that we make that diversity work here.
I know that all eyes are on the Bay Area when it comes to housing these days. I joked about buying a house for $70,000 30 years ago, probably reality back then. Right now, the average home price in Hayward is hovering right around $700,000. Rents can be multiple thousands of dollars a month for a relatively small place. How do you balance all of this growth with some people not being able to afford to live in their beloved hometown anymore?
Right. I think that we are still relatively affordable compared to what's going on, say, over on the peninsula. And in fact, my husband and I came here in the mid-1980s because Hayward was relatively affordable, and we could get a better house here for our money. But we are being hit with the increases now, and especially in our rental community. And we are seriously, as a council, addressing that issue now and looking for ways to help renters and actually also to build a lot more affordable housing.
Mayor, you mentioned the council. Didn't they recently approve cannabis businesses here in city? Do you support that? And yes or no, and why? Either way.
I do have concerns about it, but I listen to my colleagues on the city council and to our community and to the voters who pretty significantly passed both the statewide measure and the request from us for a tax on that if it passed on the same ballot in 2016. And so we have done a very careful, our staff worked really diligently to do the best process that we could, and we've limited the number of businesses that we're approving. Most of them, the vast majority, are production and manufacturing. They'll be out in our industrial area. We are just getting to the point of approving businesses pretty much limited to the downtown here for retail. That's limited to 3, and I don't even know if we'll have that many.
What about the safety of your citizens? I've talked to a couple of your officers out here. It's like, you know, it'd be nice to have a couple more police officers here in the streets. Do you foresee that happening? Maybe not this year, but in the year before, years ahead?
Oh, yes. That is a plan that we have to, and also to more effectively use the police that we're having. Sometimes it's a matter of providing better support for them back at headquarters so that they can be out doing the job they do best. And we're working on that. And this downtown, I think you're going to see a real surge in more beautification in this downtown and more security. The business owners down here just passed a measure to tax themselves or to form a business district that they can use the resources to help. So
good members of the city. You're also a good member. You're actually helping out with our school supply drive. I know the mayor. Did you bring along a little backpack we can pass along to the little ones in Hayward? So we will gratefully accept your donation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing that.
It's full of stuff. I love it. Mayor Halliday, thank you for joining us. Our highlight on Hayward continues. Stay with us. We will be right back. I know Sal is exploring.
Yeah, let's go back to Sal.
Yeah, right on. We'll be right back. Wow.
And welcome back to the 9, live from the city of Hayward. We've got the Hayward High Marching Band bringing us back here from commercial break. Whenever I see a marching band, I often think of Sal Castaneda. Across the bay in San Francisco, Reardon High School, I believe Sal was part of the marching band.
Gosh, I miss my colleague. I wish I could have been in my high school marching band. It's so great having them here. Sal, you are still there at Buffalo Bill's Brewery. I know you checked out that place thoroughly, but there are so many other fun things to do here in gorgeous Hayward, and you're going to show us some of those things now.
Exactly, Gassia and Mike. And yes, Mike, I was in the marching band. I was part of the drum corps there. I do want to show you, Mike and Gassia, that we are here in downtown Hayward, just down the street from you. So downtown Hayward is waking up, and so are the people at Buffalo Bill's. But remember, there are a lot of things, as Gassia mentioned, to do in Hayward for the weekends. You don't have to leave town. Check out what I found out. The buzz around Hayward is spreading, and locals are beginning to notice.
Oh, absolutely. I've been here for a few years, and I realize I'm getting less and less reasons why to even leave town to enjoy my weekend.
Weekends in Hayward wouldn't be complete without the Saturday Farmers Market. You can get fresh organic fruits and vegetables, gourmet food, and fresh flowers. There are mounds of tomatoes, celery, carrots, and more.
Right now, it's the organic strawberries, because we don't want regular strawberries. We want to buy organic.
Do they taste better?
Yes, and they're better for you.
You can taste some things before you buy. All this adds up to more people discovering a hidden gem in the East Bay.
My opinion of Hayward is like it's the place to be. I live in Oakland, but I really enjoy coming to Hayward because of all these shops, all the people. I just love being here.
The Hayward area has a rich history, and you can see some of it for yourself with a tour of the Meek Mansion. Located in Cherryland, the mansion was home to one of the area's earliest landowners. When you visit, you'll find elaborate 19th century craftsmanship and more than 20 rooms with some of the original furniture still in place. If you're into this kind of thing, some say the mansion is haunted. If you're a paranormal investigator, you're free to take the tour to see what or who you might find. After an afternoon of activities, you might be thirsty for some local beer. Hayward has you covered with the oldest brew pub in America, recently inducted into the Smithsonian. It's Buffalo Bill's on B Street. And yes, there is a buffalo inside along with craft brews and food. The beer is made under the close supervision of brewmaster Mike Manti, who told us about the most popular beers on tap.
Probably our Tasmanian Devil. Directly right behind that would probably be our Hayward Hef. Very popular during the summer months because it's so nice and refreshing.
On a pleasant afternoon, you can sit outside right on B Street.
We're a local-owned business, and we support the community, and we want more people to come down and check us out.
Yeah, food's good, too.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Well, you know, I love the food here. I like the pizza and the burgers. But what I really like about this place is it's right here outside. So on a nice day, you could sit out here right on B Street, which is where all the action is happening. And even at night, they have the little heaters so you can sit outside. And you know that in case you haven't been to Hayward, I'm telling the locals something they already know. The weather's pretty good around here, so sitting outside on a nice day for lunch is something that happens often. Mike and Garcia, just down the block here at Buffalo Bill's. Maybe after the show you can come up and check me out.
Maybe.
I think we can be convinced. All right, Sal Castaneda, very good there at Buffalo Bills. So we're in Hayward, and we can't highlight Hayward without talking about the Hayward Fault. So the Hayward Fault is the express reason that we got our house earthquake retrofit because it is one of those things that's ever present, ever a concern. But a lot of people really haven't learned more about the Hayward Fault other than we should be aware of it.
Well, it's kind of always been in the shadow of the San Andreas Fault, right on the other side of the bay. And I mentioned at the top of the newscast, you know, the great quake back in 1868. That happened in October, so 150 years coming up on that. Experts were saying if that quake happened again, 5 million people would be impacted here in the Bay Area. It was a 7.0. KTVU's Claudine Wong joins us live once again with more on the Hayward Fault. Claudine.
Yeah, that's right. As you just said, the fault is just a part of life. It's not the only fault that kind of runs through the East Bay, but when you talk about Hayward, people think about the fault. And really, you can see signs of it everywhere you look if you just know where to look. So we got a little help. We went to Cal State East Bay, and we talked to professor and geologist Dr. Luther Strayer, and he took us on a little tour.
It is not hard to find the Hayward Fault. You just have to know where to look.
You sight down the curb here, you see it looks well made, it's straight, but then as we get up here, you see it bends off to the right. And it's not a lot, so that makes this fault a right lateral fault, and that's what we have in Hayward. When you look across it, the slip is to the right.
And there are lots of places where you can see that type of movement. How do you know that that is the fault and not something else?
Not the tree pushing it out. Well, you want to look for systematic behaviors.
Which means it's not just this curb, it's also the one across the street.
It's right lateral offset, but in this case, instead of the curb looks effectively folded, here it's broken, right? So we got folding over there and faulting here.
There is also evidence of the creeping at the sitting wall at the Hayward Plunge. These used to be lined up?
Yeah, those used to be lined up.
And we can see it at the Plunge playground.
And again, this has that same right lateral offset.
In fact, we could see it all over the city. Dr. Strayer gave us a tour.
This,
oh wow,
the ground, the building down here is moving that way, the building here is moving this way, relatively speaking. And then if you notice as you look up, it scissors to zero, yeah. So this is holding the fault. And then it goes right through this building here, and we'll get a great view of that. Look down the top of that building.
Oh, how the wall isn't straight?
Yeah, that's the active trace.
No, the Hayward Fault is not hard to find if you just know where to look.
Okay, so here's the easy way to know where the fault is. It's where the hilly part meets the flat part, that is the active trace of the Hayward Fault. Goes right through town. Yes, there are a lot of homes, lots of businesses. Really, it is just right through the middle of Hayward. It was explained to me by Dr. Strayer that, the bottom part isn't moving, the top is moving, and that's why we're seeing, a lot of that movement on the top of the surface. But it is very close to where you guys are, Mike and Garcia.
It is very close. I think I took that field trip to learn about the Hayward Fault back when I was in elementary school. So you're bringing back a lot of memories. Claudine Wong, live with us here in Hayward. Thank you.
All right, Claudine, thank you. You know what today is?
What?
Today is Friday.
Yes.
And you know what's back on Friday?
What?
Friday Night Lights.
Oh,
That's right.
yes.
High school football is back up and running. Later tonight, a bunch of football games are going to be taking place right here in the Bay Area. And there are 4 high schools here in Hayward. Moreau Catholic is on the road against St. Pat, St. Vincent's in Vallejo. Mount Eden High is home against Oakland Tech. Tennyson at Newark, and Hayward High home against Pinole. And with that, we'll leave you with a little Hayward High marching band as we march off to break. More on John Miller and him growing up here in Hayward when we return.
Good morning. I'm Pam Cook, live in the newsroom. We'll go back to Hayward in just a moment. But first, here's a look at some of our top stories we're following for you this morning. A memorial procession is underway right now for fallen CHP officer Kirk Griss. He was killed 1 week ago when a truck slammed into him during a traffic stop on Interstate 80 in Fairfield. Griss was a 19-year veteran of the CHP, and he leaves behind a wife and 3 children. Later this morning, an attorney for the family of Nia Wilson will discuss a new lawsuit against Bart. Wilson was stabbed to death at the MacArthur station last month. Her sister was also attacked but survived. The lawsuit will claim that Nia Wilson's killing was both foreseeable and preventable. Tesla shares dropped today nearly 8% this morning. The Wall Street Journal reporting the SEC wants to question Tesla's board of directors about Musk's plans to take the company private. The SEC is expected to ask questions about tweets from Musk and if he was trying to hurt those who were shorting Tesla's stock. Those are just some of our top stories we're following for you in our newsroom. Now let's go back to Mike and Gassi out in Hayward this morning.
All right, Pam, thank you. We are here live in Hayward for the 9. Our next guests from a very special place here in Hayward, Sulphur Creek Nature Center. Really emphasized their job in wildlife rehabilitation as well as education.
Right, and just appreciation of the environment and all the wild living things that also call the Bay Area and Hayward home. Happy to have Wendy Winstead join us.
Morning,
Wendy
Wendy
has brought a
Morning.
guest with a rather fierce-looking little beak. Tell us what you brought for us from the Sulphur Creek Nature Center.
Well, I brought Prince, who is our resident turkey vulture, and Prince is an ambassador for his species for the educational programs that we reach out to all the schools and going out to rest homes, going out to preschools.
So is this what I see flying around when I'm hiking through East Bay Regional Park land? Okay.
Yes. These guys love to soar up in the...
Look at that wingspan.
Prince is
showing up.
Why am I in the middle here?
Prince
by
is
the
a bit
way?
of a peacock. So I joke that he might find Mike a meaty morsel, but you say Prince is not going to attack my co-anchor.
Not right now. He's going to wait till he's dead.
Okay, good. Hopefully 50, 60 years.
Especially when children come to see. What's the reaction they get?
You know, getting that one-on-one reaction or, interaction is just wonderful. And it sparks their imagination. It sparks what they can actually see and find out in nature. And then that creates a drive for learning.
Right, it does. And I know that you have another special guest that you're going to highlight. So if you want to take a break from Prince here, I will let you get the second animal.
Do you want to hold this one?
I will leave it to the expert, Wendy.
What is the other
Prince? Is it a great horned owl?
I brought a great horned owl.
Okay, let's see that.
Let's take a look at the great horned owl. I'll mention real quick, Sulphur Creek is open to visitors, and if you haven't been there yet, it is a little nugget of nature. It is a nugget of nature in the middle of really a growing metropolitan city. So it's at 1801 D Street. It's open from 10 to 5. The Discovery Center closes at 4:30. So keep that in mind if you are going to specifically go for the Discovery Center. I know you can do birthday parties there. We've done school field trips there. So again, if you're looking to give your children that appreciation for nature and for wildlife, come here to Hayward to the Sulphur Creek Nature Center.
Because we have so much wildlife around us.
Right.
It seems like we never really connect enough with it.
Right,
you know?
right.
Now, I'm not saying everyone out there, but it is important to get not just children out there and educate them about where we live and what's around us, but adults as well.
Right, and every time we see foxes in our backyard, we see deer scampering through our front lawn, and I say they were here first. They were here before this little tiny house was built. So, oh my goodness, take a look
Wendy,
at this.
What are we at? What is this animal again?
This is a great horned owl.
Look at those eyes.
And so part of the reason that we have these animals is we also have a wildlife rehabilitation hospital where we take in injured and orphaned native wildlife. But sometimes, like people, they cannot be released back out into the wild. This one came in with a fractured leg and so doesn't have that gripping power. And then that's when they become our ambassadors.
And you love what you do, Wendy.
I do. I love Sulphur Creek. And the best thing about it is that we're with the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District, and we're a free park. You can come and visit us for free.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
Wendy Winstead, two amazing animals who were here in our backyard, I think, even before people got here. So thank you again.
Thank you, Wendy.
Again, very good work being done at the Sulphur Creek Nature Center, and appreciation for the animals who live among us.
All right, still to come here on the 9 live from Hayward. I mentioned at the top, the voice of the Giants, John Miller. They are on the road in Cincinnati, but John Miller grew up right here in Hayward.
Hayward, that's where I spent my youth from first grade right through high school. At Hayward High, one of the things that I enjoyed at Hayward High was I used to broadcast the games, the basketball games, the football games, with my tape recorder, and then we'd play the highlights the next morning on the room-to-room intercom until the principal would come out of his office and look at his watch and say, mind if we start class anytime soon? They've just built a new football stadium up at Hayward High, and I was told that it has a beautiful press box and a broadcast booth, which they're going to name after me.
Welcome to the pride of Hayward High, the marching band right behind us here at gorgeous Hayward City Hall. The sun is shining on them literally and figuratively. These young men and women just came off of 2 weeks of band camp, and they're going to start the school year in style. School, by the way, here in Hayward starts August 27th, so they've got a bit of a longer summer.
A little late.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Nice. So they're going to enjoy the final throes of summer for one more week here. I'm practically roasting here. The sun is out. It's gorgeous weather, as it always is here in the East Bay, I like to add.
That's why this is kind of a hidden gem, because when we first arrived here,
it was foggy,
it was overcast, and then the fog pulls away, and when you're on this side of the bay, you'll see the sunshine. You know what else I've noticed about downtown Hayward? How clean it is.
Sparkling.
Sparkling clean. Let's go back to Claudine Wong right now. She's got a little bit more on why it's so clean down here and a group of volunteers that's making this happen. Claudine?
Yes, Mike and Garcia, it is clean down there. That is the hard work of a team called the Downtown Streets Team. Now, this is a group that actually, the nonprofit that runs this, is actually started in Palo Alto. But the city of Hayward reached out a couple of years ago and says, hey, can you do what you're doing down there up here? So Hayward was actually the first East Bay city to host this program. And what it does is try to attack the problem of homelessness and the mission to keep the streets clean. They put that together, and we talked to some of the team members about the work they are now doing.
Every time Linda Simpson picks up a cigarette butt or a piece of trash, she thinks of her grandchildren.
They banned cigarettes in Hayward. Guess what? I must pick up 200 cigarette butts a day, if not more. My granddaughter plays at the fountain and she loves it, so I make sure that the city looks good.
Simpson is a member of the Hayward Downtown Streets team, and every member of this group has seen some hard times.
I had lost my vehicle at the same time I lost my home. And I had lost my mother at the same week, so I was depressed.
But when they put on these shirts and when they go to work, they say they get something that has, in the darkest days, been hard to find.
I got dignity.
The program offers people experiencing homelessness a chance to work on a street cleanup team. In exchange, they get a stipend, often in the form of gift cards, and support services to help them find long-term jobs and housing. The team is a training ground for the long-term jobs members are hoping to get. But 2 years later, the Hayward team has seen the work pay off. Of an estimated 90 people who've tried the program, 10 have found long-term employment, 17 have found housing. But this is about more than the numbers. This group will tell you this is about dignity, and that means changing the way people look at homelessness. Both women we talked to say people are starting to look at them differently.
They love it. They tell us all the time, they compliment us.
And we're getting so many compliments on the streets, and wherever we go, people know who we are now, and they're so thankful.
And Hayward really is a pioneer for the East Bay. Downtown Streets is also moving to Oakland and Berkeley and kind of following that lead. So it's pretty amazing. They have meetings every Tuesday, every week to see if there's other people who might want to be a part of that program. So a really great program that is helping the city of Hayward and helping the people who are in that program, who many of them grew up here, and this is home. All right, before we go, though, I've got some help from a little one here. This is Camille. Camille, you're 3 years old, right? Can I pick you up? Is that okay? Okay. Oh, hello. So she's going to help me because we've been talking about the fish that are down here. Now, you're not supposed to feed the fish because they feed them. But we got this special treat. Can you put out your hand? Do you want to? Okay. And we're going to feed the fish because you've got to see how amazing these fish are. I'm going to put some in my hand, too. Are you ready? Okay. We're going to send Eckhart to lift the camera. Okay. Go ahead and throw it out there. Oh, let's see if them coming. What do you think? Do you see the fish? So they do this every day, and it's really just the most amazing thing to see. If we give them a little bit more because there's a lot to share. Remember, they talked about how there are a couple of hundred fish and koi in here, and they actually had some babies, so they've gotten a little bit busy. So this was a special treat that we got to do. What do you think, Camille? Which one's your favorite?
The orange one.
The orange one. I like the orange one, too. I'm not sure which orange one she's talking about, but a really neat treat. And we have to thank the Hayward Parks and Recreation Department for letting us hang out here all day, and really a gorgeous spot. And let's send it back to you.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you so much, Claudine, and your little helper. There are so many fabulous things to do and see right here in the gorgeous city of Hayward.
Before we go, let's go check back in with Sal one more time.
I wonder what he's been up to.
You know, Sal, you know I'm an IPA fan, and I hear that somehow you have an IPA in your hand, but only one, not two, just one.
I actually have the Buffalo Bills Pale Ale in my hand. and my friend, and we've become close over the last few weeks. Alex Caldera, who is, by the way, Mount Eden High, right?
I did. I graduated from Mount Eden High.
He's the GM here. He poured me some pale ale. And by the way, any of you crew members or people in the studio or in the booth who are watching, you're free to come by and hang out here at Buffalo Bills. It's been a great day. If you come down to Hayward, thank you. Yes, come down to Hayward. You'll have a lot of things to do. They have good food here, and we've had a marvelous time. I really enjoyed the farmers market too. So, Mike and Garcia, it has been, getting to know Hayward. I really like what I see, and I'm bound to be back.
Awesome. All right, Michael, see you in about 7 minutes. Sal Castaneda, thank you so much. I am impressed by the generosity of those who live and work here in Hayward. We have a school supply drive going to help the little ones who are going back to school come August 27th. When we got here, the barrels were looking about half full, and you can see now they are overflowing. Even the mayor, a little 5-year-old kindergartner, everybody in between.
Fire department,
right? Oh, the fire
truck
department
one pulled up, outpouring of support.
So we have several barrels full to the brim and more. Again, keep this in mind, little ones enjoying your last days of summer. School starts here in Hayward on August 27th, and we thank you for coming by and donating here to help those little ones go back to school in style.
32 schools right here in this district. Well, he made a promise and he fulfilled it. Frank Malico joining us here before we send off and say goodbye. And you come with treats.
I come with treats. Well, Annabelle Candy Company's been here since the 60s. They make the Rocky Road. They make the Big Honkin'. It's one thing to do a story, but a little reporter involvement. So
I'll take the Rocky Road.
I'll give you the Rocky Road.
I think Mike should get the
You're
big
kind
hunk.
of a big hunk, Mike.
Yes,
So
well, thanks, Frank.
we'll give you that.
I love it.
We got 48 bars in there.
Okay,
and they are
I'll take half.
They make the Uno bar, the Look bar, and these little retro candy, but terrific people.
What do you think of Hayward, in your time here?
I got to admit, I grew up in the East Bay. I didn't come to Hayward a lot. The last time I was here, I wrestled at Cal State Hayward in high school, and it's been a long time, but I spent 2 days here. Jim over at the hardware store, I know the people here. They're just terrific. Yeah. They're really excited about their library, and they're enjoying a renaissance.
I know.
I love that you said Cal State Hayward, because I still call it Cal State Hayward.
I know,
it's
East
Cal
Bay.
State East Bay now. They
Right.
made that change, like, I think 15-something
Well, when
years
I
ago.
wrestled way back when, it was Hayward.
All-American,
absolutely.
All-State. Tell me more about your wrestling days here. Huh?
Well,
Did you win that match here?
I won a few.
I'm
I
sure
beat a
he
kid
won.
from Mount Eden, which I think is from Hayward, right?
Right, yeah.
And then ended up losing. I think I took 6th in the North Coast section.
Yeah, all the public high schools, you say Eden, but the other two, Hayward and Tennyson, they all got new fields recently. So they had a lot of money, they raised some money, and they invested in the schools, so they all have new fields with football starting today.
And Hayward High, by the way, is the farmers. And a lot of the millennials now say,
what do they farm?
Farmers, what the heck?
What farming?
Right.
Farmers years
Apricots.
ago.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, a lot of orchards here.
Yeah.
Just had a ball.
Now you have to go to the farmer's market on Saturdays to get those apricots, right?
That's right. Hey, Hayward, let's hear it for you.
Absolutely.
Come on,
Hayward, a
everybody.
big shout to all of you. Thank you so much for coming here. What a joy it's been. Absolutely. Boy, we had the whole rest of the day to stay and play in Hayward. So
Should we get the band going
let's
as we
do
say
it.
goodbye?
The Bride of Hayward High School. Thanks for joining us on the 9. We should do this again sometime. Have a great rest of your day.
Rocky Road, please.
You can have one.
How about a road and a hunt?
I'll take a big hunk, too.
Chocolate, marshmallows, cashews. Thank you, Joe.